channel so you never miss out on a video. Don't forget to ring the bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Talk to you then. Or maybe even just tin, which has a very low melting point. But that melted so well, so what? Out what kind of metal. The whole button. Ooh, now we're getting some iridescent effects. Yeah, that surface. More like 25 or 20. Still that was melted. I'm now quite curious about what metal this is. I'm thinking it might be zinc. A limited. Well, here is our silver play button. It's a little bit changed. So that makes me think maybe this one is. I think this is melting. Oh! Is going to get destroyed. And then if this furnace doesn't work, we have our backup. Our nickel is more that I'm positive it wasn't nickel into the metal here. I want to pry it out, but I don't want to push too hard with my finger because I'll probably end up just cutting myself. There's just a little chunk of glue. 2600 degrees. That took about 3 minutes for this just being a solid piece. Pour it into a but it's like a cleaner nickel plate. The channel Jerry Rig Everything did some tests and found that these old style play buttons are made of about 90. Pretty straightforward. Let's put our play button just stuck. Our silver play button has been melted down and cast into a new shape, and I gave that a nice little. Kind of cool, right when it lit, it like fogged up quickly and so easily. Just on a plaque on the wall too. I want to display this. Let's build a little display for this thing. This is going to be full of oh. Minutes to completely liquefy. This right here was the surface of the play button. It sort of fell in and ended up as slag down in the cup. And I thought like, oh, it's already ruined, but then it just cleared right up. So I guess that was just some sort of fun. Fahrenheit instead of 2600 degrees Fahrenheit. Look how it turned out. I am curious. I'm gonna have to do some tests to find. Use on those glass containers full. Probably in a mold, they cast the main button and then they plate over. For whatever reason, we happen to have an additional stand. So we've got ourselves like a new award. What do you think? Should YouTube keep giving shape? Doesn't look quite this or extra silver play button. And so we are going to see what happens if metal, and I'm gonna get a cool cast out of it. That looks awesome. Full of molten metal. Furnace, which definitely gets hot enough to melt it down. So if it doesn't melt here, then we'll try melting it there. Sort of vapor. The silver plate. Whoa! Jerry Rig Everything tested. In fact, I bet pretty strongly that it is. So we'll have to do some tests of our. But it did. In fact, it melted in like 2, maybe 3 minutes. Enough to melt nickel. So yeah, might have to do some tests to try and figure out just what this was. Down in there, fire up the furnace and see what happens to it. This is getting kind of wrecked. Neat. Now I got Orbeez. So maybe this was a different edition of the play button than the one that. So I'm pretty sure the surface is actually also made of nickel. Maybe not. Oh wow. Well, the box at the bottom shows you what YouTube thinks you need. So So we're gonna throw it into our furnace and see what happens. Our furnace only gets up to about 2,000 degrees, 5% nickel. But I like surrounded by molten metal. But I'm gonna see if I can take this blast from our bowl. .600 degrees, and those are both in Fahrenheit. But we do want to see what happens if it box up at the top transports you directly to nickel that melts it. Because our furnace doesn't even get hot. 3, 2, 1. Zinc, which melts at about 700 degrees. To our last video, you should go check that out. Different method, it's not cast with the rest of it, so they spilled all over the place. Let's grab some cool water and cool that off. That's applied in it. Itself on it. Overall, this has been pretty surprising. I really didn't think that was going to melt in this furnace at all. It's still metal. It's just not a play button anymore. But I don't know, maybe that would look good. Play button is an award given out by YouTube to channels who reach 100,000 subscribers. Well, for what it started out as silver shiny metal, and it's silver shiny metal again. Fascinating. Just turned into a puddle down in the cup. All of the shell that was around it didn't melt. This is because it's definitely not bees, and I just want to see what comes out, and if we need to be watching next. And this bomb here in the middle will subscribe you to for about half of it. We melt this down. Look at that, the top corner, it's on the edges. Yeah, it's starting to like bubble now. Whereas the melting point of out this style, or maybe should they move on to this one? I don't know, maybe it's an upgrade. Same way it did before. And because of how low temperature this our own, and find out what this one was made of. Guys, that's not all. We've got more for you to see. That little we just heat it up to 2,000. Maybe it gets soft, maybe it starts glowing. I'm curious if the finish. Yeah, the inside of the cup is now full of liquid.
No. 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 No.